Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Who we got in here? Who we got in here? We got Level Up who? Level Up Nelson. Oh, what up, Nelson? What's good, brother? What's the word, man? Let me put this thing back on here. Kyle, what's popping, King? What's popping, King? So yeah, I wanted to do a little live real quick. We got some very interesting things that have just occurred. Number one being that Tulsa Real Estate Fund, we just closed on our first property. It's a 30,000 square foot commercial space in South Atlanta. We're gonna reveal the details on like the address and what we're gonna be using it for and all that stuff real soon. So that was great. We also just officially, yeah, I can say it's official. We also officially partnered with a town, like a mayor of a town in Atlanta. We're going to be doing some great things with their town as well. And so that we're also going to reveal very, very soon. And let me see, what else can I talk about? Oh yeah, JMA is working on licensing our curriculum to high schools, middle schools, prisons all around the country. We've made some significant leeway in that. We're just waiting on the ink to dry. So yeah, we got some things going on. I'm in a real good mood and just wanted to share some of that with y'all, man. What y'all up to, man? What you guys up to? What's going on? Shout outs to, let me see, who else just joined? Style 5, what up, partner? The real big what's going on? Play for Keith, what's good? What's the word? And shout outs to anybody that wants to book David Shands for a speaking engagement. You now officially can reach out to yours truly. You want to get to David, you got to get to me. So I want to see my DMs jumping from all of you guys putting on prop nice. What's good, man? Appreciate that. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know, man, we are really doing some great things, trying to expand, trying to work with a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters that's doing things. This Sunday we have our TED Talk in Atlanta, Georgia at the JW Marriott. Starts at 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Tickets are sold out, so you can't come in person anymore, but we will be streaming it live. We're like, AKA, we kind of calling it the blackout. You know what I'm saying? We call it the blackout because all the speakers are probably the smartest, most talented African American speakers that have ever graced any stage, like any stage, and so we got a lot of great people, man. We got David Shands, we got Jay Morrison, we have Ramon Tukes, we have Hope Wiseman. Hope is amazing. We got let me see, we got Tyra Baruti. She's the owner of Credit Medics franchise here in Atlanta. We got myself, we got Letitia Robb, one of the best, smartest, most brightest, most talented real estate agents in the Atlanta area. Of course, Jay Morrison goes without saying. Ernestine Johnson goes without saying. Actress, poet, activist. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy. We're really just trying to finish out this year strong and really just step it up another notch, man. Every year we try to do things that are kind of outdo what we did the past year, and we love to put on our people. It's not about just one of us getting all the shine. It's about, can we open up the door and just bring everybody through that motherfucker? You feel me? And so like that's really our energy and our vibe over here, man. We just really trying to put on everybody who we fuck with, everybody who is trying to do something positive for the culture, people that trying to do something positive for themselves. It's kind of hard for you to do something positive for the culture if you yourself are not good. You feel me? So of course we want everybody to kind of look out for themselves first, but once you're good, it's like, okay, how do we spread this energy around? So that's really where we coming from right now, and I'm so excited, man. Haven't really been getting a lot of sleep lately, but I make up for it on the weekends. And I didn't come into work yesterday. I just spent the whole day at the house just working from home. I was in bed on my laptop, responding to my emails, took my calls from my bed, man. Just had to, regain my energy or whatever. But yeah, that's what we working with. I'm trying to gain some weight, so I've been in the gym and I've been drinking these. I don't even know what these are. Are these protein shakes or something? Trying to get as many calories and grams of protein as I can. And yeah, man. That's what we over here doing. What y'all up to on this wonderful? What is it? Wednesday? Is it Wednesday? Thursday? I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. How y'all doing on this wonderful Wednesday morning? Joe Oakland says, stay away from that milk. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I got to gain this weight first, though. I got to gain this weight, though. I got to get swole. You know what I'm saying? I got kind of small, man. I done lost some weight. I'm trying to get my swole back on. I'm trying to get in. You feel me? Marquise flips houses. What up, bro? Style 5. I like that name. Style 5. That sounds like a rapper name. I feel like if my name was Style 5, I'd be a rapper. But for those of you that don't know, I actually am a rapper when you think about it, Go on Spotify and type my name in. You're going to see a lot of my songs. I used to make music a long time ago. I still do write for other artists, and I still do manage and assist other artists kind of get their careers off the ground, their independent careers, that is. You know what I'm saying? So y'all kind of quiet in here, man. I'm trying to interact. Somebody asked me some questions. You don't usually get me open like this, man. You don't usually get me open. So now that I'm trying to talk to y'all, I'm trying to give y'all some game and tell y'all what I do. Y'all need to take advantage. Mark said, congrats on the acquisition. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Let me see. Shout outs to Lori. Thank you for joining. Sean, Steph Co. What's good? What's the word? Trying to answer y'all question, but you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't trying to take advantage. Y'all not trying to take advantage. So, I mean, what are you guys doing today? Y'all caught me in the office. Dressed down, just got a little t-shirt, sweats, dad hat. Marquis say, how's I finding my wholesale deals? When I started out, did I go virtual? All right, so I'm going to tell y'all a secret, right? When I started wholesaling, I didn't use any, secret special strategies or tactics or, you know what I'm saying? The way I found my first deals was bandit signs and direct mail. Those are the only two strategies I have ever used to wholesale. That's it. I never used any of these, new high-tech way. Not saying that those things don't work, but you don't need all that to get a deal. I used bandit signs. I literally had a sign that said, I ordered 120 signs. They said, I buy houses cash, and then it had my cell phone number. And it was a yellow sign, and the lettering was red. And I got 120 of those. And when I was in New Jersey, I put one on, what's the name of this highway? It's Freeway Drive East. It's in East Orange. It's not really a highway, but it's just a very long, busy street that connects East Orange and Orange to the Parkway. And Freeway Drive East or some shit like that. And I put one there. I put a couple on Central Ave in East Orange. I put a couple on Center Ave in Orange. And my phone was just blowing up. And that was how I got my first deals. I remember I did put a couple on the on-ramps of highways. When you're getting on the highway, it kind of goes off and turns off. So I put one there because I figured there's got to be thousands and thousands of cars driving on here every day. And this is not an area where a lot of people are walking on. Nobody's supposed to be walking there anyway. So I was kind of confident that nobody would take my signs or kick them over or throw them away or whatever. So that was how I got it. You know, got into the game as far as my first wholesale deals. And Lori says, how did I start off in real estate? My night job, bro. And now, night job boys now. I go tell you now. I go tell you now. I go reveal to you the way I started. So when I was 14, I went back to Nigeria for high school. So when I was 14, I went back to Nigeria. I was there for 5.5 years. I was in Africa for 5.5 years, from 14 to 19. And while I was there, my last year of high school, I finished like all my courses in class. Well, it was that I finished my courses in class. I took the SAT really early. I think I took the SAT when I was like 17 or something like that. And I didn't get a great score. I think I got a 1080. That's like an average score. That's not really high. But I sent out some college applications to schools in the States. And one day before school started, after like the morning assembly that we used to always have at school, the principal called me into her office. And so I thought I was in trouble, because I used to get in trouble literally like 2-3 times a week my entire time in high school. So I'm like, damn, they, maybe they found out about something I did. I'm about to get in trouble. I'm gonna get suspended, whatever. And she called me in her office and she said, hey, yeah, a college accepted you into their school in the States. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. To be honest, I wasn't even sure how that could happen, because I was like, how can you get accepted into college when you're not even finished with high school yet? But they were like, yeah, you got accepted into a college in America, and, congratulations. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so if I got accepted into college already, right, then that means I don't got to go to class no more in high school. So I'm like, man, fuck them senior classes. So like the last 4 months of my senior year, I didn't even go to class. I'm like, man, fuck this class. I got accepted to college already. I'm good. And so during those 4 months, in Africa, boarding school is very big. So I was in a boarding school. So like during the last 4 months of my senior year, I wasn't going to class. I was just staying in the dorm. And when I was in the dorms, I would just be reading books. And so like one of the first books that I read, and this is a cliched book. I know a lot of people talk about it, but in all honesty, like this really was like my first book on business. It was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I read that book back in, I think it was like 2005. And, for those of you that have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's about real estate. It focuses on assets and liabilities and how to be a business owner and not an employee, et cetera, et cetera. And that shit really just kind of blew my mind, man. And, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Then they had another one. He had wrote another book called The Cash Flow Quadrant. I read that one. He had like 6 or 7 books in that series. And I remember, I think I read like 4 of them, either 3 or 4 of them during that last 4-month period that I wasn't going to school. And so, when I ended up leaving Nigeria in July of 2005 and coming back to America, I just came back with just like business on my mind. Like I just wanted to be in business. I just wanted to buy real estate, start a business, make money. Like I wasn't concerned about anything else. And so that was how I got my start. So when I came back to America, I was just trying to figure out like the real estate market in St. Louis, Missouri, because that was where I came back to. I was actually born and raised in St. Louis. So when I came back from Africa, I just went back to St. Louis. And so I really just spent a lot of time trying to figure out what the real estate market was like in the Midwest. And so to answer your question, Lori, that was my start in real estate. That was how I got into real estate. That was how it was appealing to me. And so yeah. Do I see a market correction coming soon? Do you plan on making tons of money when the real estate crash comes? Yeah, everybody should plan on making tons of money when the real estate crash comes. That's where you make your money. A lot of people, this is something that people have to understand, and I need you guys to listen to me really, really closely. You don't make the most money when the economy is good. That is false. That's false. Okay? When everybody has a job, when the economy is great, when we have a wonderful president who's just doing everything perfect, that's not where people get wealthy. You get wealthy when the economy is terrible. You get rich when things are just ridiculous, when things are just haywire. That's when you make money. And I'm going to explain that. The reason being is that things are cheap when the economy is bad. There's a saying that I believe became popular during the first Great Depression of 1929. They say the time to buy is when blood is in the streets. So during the Great Depression in 1929, because the stock market had crashed and people were getting fired left and right, there was a shortage of cash. There was a shortage of money. And so people were selling all of their assets. They were selling all of their valuable goods for next to nothing because they needed cash so that they could get soup and bread to stay alive. And so families like the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and the Rothschilds and all those, and the Fords, like all those families, being that they had a little bit of money, they were able to buy a lot of assets for pennies on the dollar. So as you know, no crash or depression lasts forever. So when the depression or the crash is over and the value of things come back up, you just bought these very priceless, valuable assets for pennies on the dollar. And now when everything is back good again, the price of those assets is going to skyrocket. So now you own something that's, say, worth $1 million, but you bought it when the economy was terrible. So you bought it for $100,000. So that's when you want to buy. That's when you want to get rich. You don't get rich when the economy is great. And so everybody should be looking. It's crazy to say this, but everyone should be looking forward to the economy crashing. If you're an entrepreneur, anybody who's a business person, you should be looking forward to the economy crashing, because that will present opportunities that will not be available when the economy is great. All right. They say that one of the two things that you should always invest in, of course you invest wisely, but the two things you should always invest in is alcohol and food. Because whether people are rich or poor, they're going to drink when they're happy. They're going to drink when they're depressed. Same thing with food. People are going to eat when they're happy. They're going to eat when they're sad. Because regardless of whether the economy is good or bad, you have to eat to stay alive. So those are two things. Those are two commodities. Those are two items that history has shown us that no matter when we're in a good or bad economy, no matter whether we're in a good or bad economy, if you are a wise, astute investor, you can make a lot of money off of those two commodities. And so that's something that, people should always kind of keep in mind. Let me see. I want to start investment. Christian, Lauren. Yeah, I think we spoke, Chris, man. You said you want to start investments in properties and you have capital. You just don't know where to start. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, man. When I was in New Jersey, we were supposed to link up, and it slipped my mind. And I was actually in New Jersey for like 5 days. And I think I spoke to you before I flew out there. But it just slipped my mind to come and meet up with you. And I was free for like 3 or 4 days. But yeah, man, just shoot me a text message or give me a call, man. I really think we can find some solutions to that, man. And also so Christian Lauren was he's a videographer in New Jersey that when I was coaching real estate agents in New Jersey back in 2016, he helped do one of our first drone videos for a $800,000 house that we were able to list. And I was able to get my agent, $1.4 million in listings in the first 12 days of her real estate agent career. And so Christian was someone who helped us put out our first piece of marketing material. Let me see. What questions we got? Okay, I think I answered that question. New Year Steve says, when the next time I'll be in Jersey. I'm in Jersey all the time, and I'm in Jersey once or twice a month. I don't usually plan it. I just go, so I'll be in New Jersey once or twice a month. I'll typically be there for 2 or 3 days. I mean, the last time I was there was last week. I was there for like 5 days. But yeah, I'm up there all the time because it is, I spent the last 10 years of my life in Jersey, so Jersey's home for me. And so I still have properties there, still have friends, still have business dealings there, still have a lot of, everything associated with my adult life in Jersey. So I'm still there all the time. Hey, I'm dropping gems today, man. Y'all need to take advantage. Take advantage, man. I don't do this every day. I'm not like Jay. I don't give y'all game every day like how Jay does. Jay gives y'all game every day. You know what I'm saying? I only give it to you when I get the inspiration. So what we got, man? What we got? Hey, but I want you guys to look at this shirt I got on. Black Brilliant Billionaire in the Making. This is made by Melanin Money. Melanin Money is a clothing line and also a financial literacy company based out of, I think, North Carolina, founded by George. I don't know how to pronounce George's last name. If I did, I would say it. But you should go follow them. I follow them, so just look at my followers and type in Melanin Money, and it should pop up. Their logo is like two M's together. So check them out. Lori says, did you start off with a mentor, understanding someone? How did you know what to say, and how did you find your first buyer? No, I didn't start off with a mentor. I started off by Google and YouTube. I mean, I guess you could say I had virtual mentors that I had never met and never spoke to. I just used to watch their videos every single day. I know, let me see, who are the first guys that I mean, when it came to videos, I think Phil Pustiavsky was one guy that I used to watch religiously every day. And then when Jay started putting out videos with consistency, I believe back in 2014 or so, I used to watch Jay on a regular basis. There was a couple other people. I just can't remember their names right now. Oh, yeah, there's a guy. I forget this guy's name, and that's sad because I got a lot of game from him. He's a black guy, older black guy, co-writer of Real Estate for Dummies. And I think he speaks mostly just on commercial real estate. All his videos, he's just on a whiteboard and he just breaks down the game. Smart guy. I'm talking about genius. So I used to watch him a lot. And so, I didn't really have someone to tell me exactly what to do and how to do it in the beginning. I would just watch it on a video and go and try it and see how it works out. The best way to learn is not to have somebody tell you exactly what to do so that you never fail. It's to actually go out there in the game and play and learn by playing the game. Like, you're going to get to be a better basketball player, not by watching a whole bunch of videos on how to play basketball, but by actually playing the game and knowing that, okay, if I shoot the ball like this, it may not go in. But if I shoot it like this, it's more likely going to go in. Like, you only find that out by doing it wrong and by trying new things. Like Allen Iverson knew how to cross people over so good because he spent so many years on the street court just trying out moves. So when he got into the NBA, he knew what would work and what wouldn't because he had seen what actually worked in the game. Same thing is in real estate. You got to get out there and just try stuff. Some stuff is going to work, some stuff isn't. But when you figure that out, now when you're actually ready to play, when you're actually ready to buy your own property, when you're actually ready to put up thousands of dollars as a down payment for your own deal, you're confident with what you're doing. And so the reason why wholesaling is a great way to start is because wholesaling is like that street court game. It's like the street ball. It's where you kind of can learn without risk of losing a lot. You can learn like what works and what doesn't. You learn a lot about the business, man. You learn all the terms. You learn what lenders want. You learn what investors want. You learn what sellers want, and you kind of learn all this stuff without you having the risk or put up anything. And so that's just a great space to be in. And so yeah, that's really how you learn. Analysis causes paralysis. Yeah, I mean, analysis is good for everything. Like, you have to analyze things. You can't just go into things blind. You have to analyze, but at some point in time, you got to stop analyzing and go in. Because if you analyze too long, you're never, ever gonna actually be able to like practice what you're analyzing. You know, the iPhone, they come out with a new phone 2 times every year. If back in 2007 they said, you know, we're not going to release this phone until we analyze all the data so that we can make a perfect phone, then you would never have an iPhone, because it'll never be perfect. There's no such thing as being perfect. You guys got to get that shit out your fucking mind. Perfection does not exist. The richest companies, biggest companies in the world, Amazon, Uber, Apple, they are not perfect. They have these phones. I'm on an iPhone right now. These phones fuck up all the time, every day. Glitches. They overheat. You know what I'm saying? The screens still aren't crack resistant. Like, they're not perfect. So you're sitting there trying to be perfect when companies that are probably bigger than what you and I will ever be in our entire lives aren't focused on being perfect. They're just focused on getting a product out there and getting customers and building a relationship with customers and building brand loyalty and building a brand, you know, getting into your subconscious. That's what they're worried about, you know, so you need to also be worried about the same thing. You got to see yourself as a big company. You got to stop seeing yourself as some little person. You got to stop seeing yourself and your brand as some small business or some startup. You're not a freaking startup. You're a company. You're a company. And companies don't look at themselves like, you know, the little bastard adopted brother that nobody wants. Companies step out, whether they're a small company or a big company, and they step out there like, yo, I'm the best. I'm the biggest. If you're going to give anybody your money, you need to give it to me. And that comes with confidence, and it comes with just, you know, believing in your product. So if you have analysis paralysis, or if you're scared to step out, it's not because your ideas are bad. It's because you don't believe in yourself. That's the only reason why. Because I don't care how bad or unexperienced you are, I guarantee you there's somebody who's worser than you who actually wrote out a product and is selling their product that's worse than yours, or that started their business that's not as organized as yours, and they're making money, more money than you. So it's not that, you know, you don't have what it takes, it's that you just don't believe in yourself. Prop Nice says, why apartments over single families? I mean, that's easy, man. I think you asking that question tells me that you already know. Like, you already know. If you'd even ask that question, then you have an idea why. If I have a single family home as an investment and I'm renting that out, if my tenant loses their job or something happens and they can't pay me rent, depending on the state that I'm in, it may take me 6 or 7 months to evict them. So for 6 or 7 months, I'm not getting any rent. So that's 6 or 7 months that I'm not able to pay the mortgage payment on that house. So that's a great way to get your property foreclosed on and taken from the bank, investing in single family homes. But if you invest in an apartment building or a multifamily, something that's 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units or higher, if one of your tenants or 2 of your tenants loses their job or falls on financial hardships and they can't pay you, while you're going through the eviction process to get them out and get somebody else in that can pay you, you're still getting rent from the other tenants who still have their jobs and are still making their payments to you on time. So it's like an insurance policy. It's like a safety net. You never want to put yourself in a situation to where your financial success depends on one person to pay you rent every month. That's just a terrible spot to be in. If you have family, if you have kids, like, you cannot build your empire off of being irresponsible like that. Now, there are a lot of people who do invest solely in single family homes. I'm not knocking their hustle. You can make a lot of money renting out single family homes. I just feel that it's a way higher risk investing in single family homes than it is investing in multifamily. So if you really want to mitigate your risk in investing, that mitigation is a lot more effective if you invest in multifamily properties. You know, if I have a 50-unit apartment building, if 10 people get fired and they can't pay me rent, guess what? I'm still getting rent from 40 other units. So those 40 other units can still cover any of my mortgage payment, my property management fees, my property taxes, my expenses, my heat, hot water, all the bills that I have to cover as the property owner can still be covered by the 40 other tenants that I still have while I'm going through getting rid of the 10 tenants that can't pay me currently. And so in that situation, I can still sleep at night. But if I only have one single family and that tenant can't pay me, it's going to be hard to go to sleep at night because you're sitting here looking at foreclosure right in the face like, damn, when I'm getting some money so I can pay this bank. If I don't pay this bank, they're going to take my house, man. And I'm going to have a foreclosure on my credit. And then I'm not going to be able to get another loan for 4 or 5 years. And then I'm going to have to file for bankruptcy. And I'm going to be broke as hell. And then I'm going to be back poor. Then I got to start from scratch. All because your little simple ass decided to invest in a single family home. So that's why, you know what I'm saying, you don't, or I prefer that you don't invest in single family homes. Prop Nice says I can pull cash out faster from a single family home. Who told you that nonsense? We talking about? It's the same process of pulling out cash from a property. It's called a home equity line of credit or a refinance. So it doesn't matter what the property is. If your credit works, your DTI, your debt to income ratio is in line with what your lender, your bank wants to see. And if you have good payment history with your lender, you can pull the property out just as quickly. It doesn't matter whether it's a single family or an apartment building. I'm not sure who told you that, but the type of property does not depend on how quickly you can pull money out of it or refinance out of it. The type of property doesn't matter. It's your financial and credit worthiness at that time with your lender, which matters. You know, there's somebody who could own a 50-unit apartment building, but, you know, their DTI has significantly increased since they got that loan to buy that property. That if they wanted to refinance, their lender, who currently has the mortgage on that property, would tell them, no, your DTI is too high. We're not going to refinance you. You can continue making your payments, and we can, you know, have another conversation 6 months down the line, a year down the line, but we're not going to refinance you. And then you can have a person who has a single family home who their DTI is low. And the bank will say, yeah, sure, come with it. We'll give you 80% of the equity that, you know, has appreciated in your home. So it's not about the property, it's about your financial standing with the lender. Let me see. So Davis says, I have $60,000. Can I get into real estate? Is that good? And what can I do with that? Yeah, 60 grand can definitely get you in the game. $60,000 can get you into a number of decent situations. It just depends, like, what's your appetite. I mean, $60,000 is a great down payment for a multifamily, depending on the city and state that you're in, depending on the country the part of the country that you're in. $60,000 can definitely be done as far as getting like a 4-family or something. I mean, because typically with a 4-family, you only have to put 3.5% down if you're getting an FHA mortgage. So yeah, $60,000. I mean, you could get a 4-unit with $15,000 down. You know, you don't need to have, you know, 60 grand to get into the game. If you got 60 grand, you're good. You're in a great space. How will the market crash affect wholesalers? Thank you. So the market crash affecting wholesalers is going to mean that these ridiculous prices that these wholesalers are putting out there for sale of wholesale deals, nobody's going to buy those deals. One of the reasons why I stopped getting into wholesaling, it was because I kind of got what I needed to get out of it. I feel like I got into wholesaling during the golden era. You can still do it now. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it doesn't work anymore, because that would be a lie. It still works, and it's a very effective strategy. But I started seeing that a lot of wholesalers just weren't analyzing their deals the right way. They were inflating their ARV numbers. They were inflating their as-is numbers, and it was like, okay, the house is really worth $30,000, but because you're a terrible negotiator, you signed a purchase agreement with the seller for 60 grand. And so now in order for you to make money, you got to sell this $30,000 house at $70,000 so that you can make a $10,000 assignment fee. And so basically when the crash happens, wholesalers who aren't experienced or who aren't doing things the right way are not going to be able to sell their inventory. The reason being is that sellers, when there's a crash, sellers are going to want to get the most amount of money for their property. So if you sign a purchase agreement with them at a number that is way more than what their house is worth, they're going to sign it, as anybody would, because it's like, okay, hey, if you say you can get me $70,000 for a house that's only worth 35 or only worth 40, shit, come on with it. So yeah, they'll put you in that situation to where you now got to go and do the impossible, and you're out here trying to shop a bad deal. And I think when the crash happens, a lot of investors are just not going to go for that bullshit anymore. They're just not going to be paying 20, 30, and 40% above market value for deals anymore. So, that's why it's very important for wholesalers to learn how to pull comps, to learn how to get accurate renovation and rehab costs, to learn how to properly analyze deals, analyze market trends, analyze the neighborhoods that you want to wholesale in, so that you can actually get deals under contract for the right amount of money. 65% of the after repair value, or 65% of the market value. That's what you need to be at. Anything higher than that, you have a deal that either you're not going to be able to get rid of, or if you do get rid of, you're going to be passing on a toxic deal to an investor who, when it goes south for them, they're never going to buy anything from you ever again. So you literally will just it's like taking your career to the backyard and putting a bullet in its head. In its head. So you don't want to do that. All right, so do I do buy and holds? Yeah, buy and holds is all I do right now. Buy and holds is all I've done for the last 2 years. I'm not really interested in flips right now at all. Everything I do is buy and holds. What are some key points to look for when analyzing a market? So what you want to do is you want to go to the town hall meetings of whatever town or neighborhood you're trying to wholesale in, and find out what's going on in that neighborhood. Find out if there's like a new Starbucks being built, or if there's like a new company that's going to be putting like a headquarters there, or if there's going to be like a Dunkin' Donuts being built there, a 7-Eleven being built, like any new construction, any company or franchise, or if there's any company that's going to be investing a lot of money into building something in a town, then that is an indication that the property values of that neighborhood may be going up at a later date. So you want to go to town hall meetings and just learn as much about that neighborhood or that town as possible. You also just want to drive around that town on a regular basis and just get a feel for what the town looks like, what it feels like, what the people in that town look like. All the time, if I drive around the neighborhood and I see that, 5:30, 6 p.m., there's a lot of people just on the streets, like jogging, just exercising, because, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, they're out of work. Then that tells me that that neighborhood is an area where there's a lot of young families or young professionals, because young professionals and young families, for the most part, are the ones that care about exercise the most. And so people that really care about exercise, statistically, they're also responsible in other areas of their life. So they statistically have good credit. They statistically have decent paying jobs. They statistically could get approved for a mortgage to buy a home or a condo and stay somewhere at some point in time. So those are all the things that you kind of want to look for. You want to look for like just the little nuances that kind of make up a community. And so that's very important. Also, another way to kind of focus. Oh, and so in a neighborhood like that, you'll want to look for the worst house in the best neighborhood, always. You want the worst, most disgusting, most unwanted house in the best neighborhood, because that's where you can preferably get the best deal and then still have that upside when you want to flip it or sell it. Another strategy is, if you're in the hood, look for the block that's got 10 abandoned houses on it, back to back, right next door, just abandoned house, abandoned house, abandoned house. There's opportunities there as well, because you can get those houses, for the most part, you can get them for next to nothing. You know, you may be able to get, I mean, I've gotten properties for $1,000 before. Real talk. Like, I've gotten properties for $1,000 before. So in neighborhoods like that, you know, you may be able to get, you know, properties or lots of land or, you know, abandoned homes for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, and you could be able to wholesale them for $4,000. So you can still make money, you know. So I would look for just a lot of those things. Let me see. Boom, boom. All right, y'all. I gotta go, man. I gave y'all like half an hour, 45 minutes. I gotta get to work, man. I appreciate all you guys who came up on the live, man. Share this live, man. I'm gonna let it stay up for 24 hours. Share it. And I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace, love, and happiness. Black, brilliant billionaire in the making. Peace.